There you go. You're all set to have a good meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Scituate Beach Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and I can't speak tonight, and minoritized communities, to feel welcomed and respected. We ask our committee members and all who participate to commit to these standards to support and respect our community. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
Motion to accept the agenda.
So moved by Rich. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved by Kate. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the June meeting?
Motion to accept the minutes.
So moved by Rich. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kate. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. So it doesn't look like Corey's going to join us tonight, so we won't have our coastal update. Cleanups. We had a good day at Egypt. We had 8 participants, so we were up from 5.
Nice. and down me too. So that's great.
Right. I was aware too.
We'll take it. I'll tell you, 50% of that was the Ramsey family. That number was the Ramsey family, and they took time out from other activities, so I was glad that they were there. It was pretty clean, especially considering we had just followed that holiday weekend. We had about 50 pounds of debris, but we were expecting cans and fireworks everywhere, and it wasn't like that, so that was nice.
That's great that it wasn't a mess.
Yeah, definitely. There's hope for our youth. And whoever is cleaning up the beaches. I run into a lot of people who say, I walk through here and I pick up what I can. And
yeah,
so I think the community's keeping it clean. So that's nice. As you know, our next cleanup is on Saturday, August 12th, and we'll be partnering with Fantastics for that. And we are psyched. Thank you, Kate, for setting that up. I'll be sending out the flyer, and hopefully everybody can spread the word and we can get at least 16 next time. Let's aim for 100% increase.
Right.
I really think that Fantastic's pushing it out. We'll have a lot of children and their families coming out. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I was actually going to touch base with her. I'm on vacation next week. So maybe, Kelly, if we could get the flyer out with their
I'm ready.
Logo this week, I can re-engage with her towards the end of the week and sort of rediscuss the plan.
Yep, it's ready to go. I will send it to anything else on the cleanups?
That's not Heritage Days is the weekend before that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just had a question about the following ones if we were going to try to do the partnership. I know Mulaney's was in for either September or November.
They actually wanted to do both September and October.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, great.
Great.
Glad she's not here, but
that's great. Okay. And then was there in the Peggotty one is November 4th. So we have time then for that if Mulaney's is the September and October. Okay. Great.
We have time for that. Plus, we're going to be doing a beach grass planting, I hope. And so we might be able to find, I don't know, somebody like Blue Stem Natives or
great. Okay.
Someone like that would actually have an active interest in supporting the beach grass planting, not just the cleanup.
Wasn't that right around when the beach grass planting was? Yeah.
I'm hoping for the same luck.
Yeah.
It was the first Saturday in November.
Right.
We got really lucky on that weather.
We could probably just
combine.
Do them both, right? Combine them, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Because we did the planting in 2 hours, and we usually spend only about 90 minutes to 2 hours on the cleanup. So
take advantage of all those hands.
If we can swing the $1,300 for the plants, I think it should work out. All right, so that's all on the cleanups. Next, we'll move to beach reports. I'll start with Egypt. I'm disappointed to say that the water safety station's still not installed there, and I emailed Mike Breen, and I haven't heard from him. I'm going to call him again. I stopped by there, but he luckily wasn't there, so I wasn't able to intercept him. What else? They've moved the trash cans to a really sort of strange spot down the end of the path, right before you get onto the boardwalk. I would like to know why, because they were at both entrances at one time. They were at the beginning of both paths, and that seemed a lot more conducive to use to me. Why you'd pair them. So that's also on my question list for him. And again, the Moby mats are empty, and that's just that's my real nagging thing right now. The sticking point. Seeing these Moby mitts,
Yeah.
mitts empty. It's just frustrating. We have the bags and we're all willing to help with it. We just need access. So we'll keep trying on that. That's it on Egypt. Richard, what about Peggotty?
So because I was away, I went before the 4th. So I have not been back after the fireworks and everything. So that's the last time I went was probably the week before that. And it was still great. Like the trash cans were in good shape. The porta potties were good. Like everything still looked clean. It was good. Everything. The mit mutts were stocked last time I went at Peggotty.
That's
So
the hunts.
so and I think they've been stocked almost every single time I go. Like I'm always checking.
That's the hunts. They
Yeah.
said they had a key to that dispenser, and so I think they are the ones keeping that.
They're on it. They're on it.
I was
Well,
down at
that's good.
Peggotty on the 5th and the 6th, and everything looked great. Actually, there was not not a lot of 4th of July debris. I think the 3rd and 4th were quiet this year because of the weather. But we heard lots of fireworks. But no, it looked. I walked it in, was down there sitting for a long time, and it looked great. So
That's good news.
mhm.
How's Hummerock?
I have not been down to Hummerock since the last report. So I spent my time at Peggotty and the Spit, but I have not been to Hummerock. So I'm not sure whether the additional trash can placements or the additional Moby mat has been put out, but post your discussion, Kelly, with the DPW.
They're both on my email list to him. Whether or not he's even read
Okay.
it, I'm not sure. I'll keep trying.
Okay.
I also wanted to ask you, Kate, when we have incoming members, we can shift around the beach assignments. I'm going to keep Egypt, but would you like museum or Sand Hills instead of Hummerock?
Yes, I just don't get to Hummerock all that often, so
Yes, I appreciate that. It
has
was
to be
my-
sort of an intentional detour. But I'm actually down near museum more often because I run that area a lot. Museum and Sandhills. I run the lighthouse stretch quite often. So
Beggars can't be choosers, but it would be excellent since we do these remotely to just have somebody on the commission that lives in Humrock, right?
so I suggested that to, was it Deanna from the South Humrock Civic Association? I had said, like, if there's anybody interested, we would love someone from Humrock. If at all possible, right? Like, also because we're speaking for their beach, right? And like, potential issues or concerns or whatever the case may be. And so it'd be nice to have their voice.
So Kate, consider museum yours and Hummerock no longer your burden. I really
Great.
appreciate that because it was my beach prior to you. And so
It's a good
Yeah,
excuse
it's a
for my
little
kids
small
to
if you
get
don't
ice
live there.
cream. So they'll be a little disappointed, but yeah, no, that's appreciated.
So Rich, how are we looking with the resident survey?
So survey, Kelly, I couldn't replicate the issue you were having. Maybe it's specific to your, like, do you have Android and not
It
an
was on the
iPhone?
phone. I have an
Yeah.
iPhone.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I tested it 2 different times. And like when I clicked on other, I could edit it and I could remove it, delete it, and it worked fine.
It was basically just a matter of how the form field, how if you can't arrow through it, I don't know. It was just, I could take pictures of it, but it's not a big enough deal. It's just maybe on my end.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and per your email, I mean, I think that's where we are, right? It's a distribution.
Yes. So
and-
how do we want to handle that? And how will we accrue surveys? That's, I guess, what we'll call
And it's a
them.
link, Rich, right? Like it will be like a like a link that goes out to the doc, so it could be put in multiple places for people to just click and do.
Yeah, and I'll see if sometimes you can customize those links. I bet I can get a shortened version or maybe even create a pretty print one. But yeah, it's a link. I mean, for starters, I was thinking of reaching out to Jim Boudreau or his admin or whoever to see if we can get it up on like the maybe 2 or 3 weeks of those weekly updates. If it
Yeah.
can just be one of the items. Obviously we can, I give it to Kate, the list you used for the right. And then have them circulate it
Absolutely.
on their lists. And then the question becomes, I think the question then becomes, do we want to like, I could post it on Scituate Monthly and we could see what happens there.
I think that's a great idea, Richard. I think we
Yeah.
should
Yep.
put as many eyes on it as we can.
Yep. That's all. I mean, that's essentially the extent of what I was thinking. I don't know if there's other ideas.
I think the Instagram accounts, Kelly, that you have too, posting up on like the Scituate beaches, Scituate trash, those, and like we can repost, right? Like I tend to get like traction from my own little circles on things when it's reposted, right? People who may not be on the town list or an association per se, but you know, like locally involved. So I think too, just our own networks, trying to get the word out.
So if we are all sure on the survey, I don't see any reason to wait, like have an opening day on the link. I think we should just go ahead and get started.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So, Rich, if you want to have a conversation with Michelle Segazy, is Jim Bedrow's admin, or himself, or just copy both of them.
Yep.
I'm sure they'll be conducive to that. They've been very supportive of our stuff. And then,
and there's Kelly, there's no, like, we can just do this, right? Like, there's no additional hurdles that we have to climb or anything.
It's in our charge.
Great.
We're supposed to be surveying our constituents.
Fantastic.
So, yep. Yep, it's ours. I don't think we're asking anything too scary, right? We don't need to run it by them. I think it's going to be fun seeing the results. I hope.
I agree.
I hope we have a wide enough audience to make it interesting.
Yep.
How long will we keep it open? Do we want to see like return on numbers and make a call at some point, or do we want to give people like a call of action to answer survey by X date? Or
I think cut it off by September. Is that too long? It's already.
I think like September 1st, something like that. So like a month and a half.
6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about this? Once we have the link from Rich that we're going to be using, everybody just let everyone else know when you're making a contact with it. For instance, Kate, I'm assuming you'll send it out to all the beach associations.
I will.
Just give us a heads up. And
yep, I'll just CC.
Let you know when the Instagram and Facebook posts are up. I think I have Scituate Beaches on Facebook. I need to go look at that. I can't stand Facebook, but I think we do. So it'd be useful. I
literally only use Facebook to go on Scituate Monthly like one time a week to see if I'm missing anything from town. That's it.
I think I don't have Facebook. I think I'm missing out on that piece, Rich. And someone made the comment like Scituate moms or something. And I'm like, I think I'm missing something.
I'll see if my wife will post. She's definitely on Scituate moms.
Yeah. That's a good one too, I hear.
Great. Anything else on the survey?
I think it looks great. Thanks for pulling it together.
Yes, definitely. On to beach sticker proposal. Kate, what's going on?
Yes. So Andrea.
Let's just pause for a minute and welcome Andrea.
Yeah.
I think she's on.
Agreed.
Hi, Andrea.
There she is.
Hi.
No problem. Kate nicely started on the notes. So
thank you.
Yes, of course.
No problem. So beach sticker proposal, actually perfect timing, Andrea. So The slides are together and near final. I had like pulled out some of the note content and distributed it to the Scituate Chamber of Commerce, the Scituate Economic Commission,
Development.
Kelly?
Economic
Sue?
development.
Yeah, thank you. Economic Development, who also happens to be the person who responded to me when I reached out to the visitor center. And so they are currently in review of that. The Chamber of Commerce came back and wrote a really nice note to our proposal, also indicating she was, despite being a resident for a long time, was not aware that we even had a visitor pass program, was very supportive of expanding it and requested attendance at their next meeting, which is tomorrow, July 11th. Andrea is going in our stead to represent and discuss the proposal at their standing meeting, field any questions, and ideally request a letter of support on the actual proposal. I followed back up with Sue on her thoughts from the visitor center perspective and the Economic Development Commission, and have not heard back yet, but I will keep trying. She did respond positively at first. I just need to pull through on any comments or concerns from her standpoint. The harbor master is the last stop, if you will.
I got there.
You
I got
did?
there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I was going to ask
sorry.
you if you were able to get down there, because
Yes,
Andrea volunteered to take a look.
I went there Thursday morning, and the weekend was a madhouse. So I haven't I have pictures of what they have. So they have, the harbor master confirmed that they have indeed sold 8 exactly as of last year. This year they've sold 3. So they showed me, and I'll email it out to everyone after the fact, or I can put it in the notes maybe. Previous to this year, they had a tag that was like what you'd normally see hanging from someone's rearview mirror that you would write on that said, this is valid for today's date. And they would actually write in Sharpie the license plate of the car as well. And, then the person would pay the $20 and away they'd go. They were very upfront about, they heavily encourage people to skip a pass entirely and just drop their stuff off and come back to the Cole Parkway and park for free and just have one person walk over to and from the car. Which I get. It's, they don't have an incentive to be selling passes, I guess. Right. This year the police station changed it, and so now it's an 8.5 by 11 laminated piece of paper that hangs from the car that is supposed to be brought back. They were given, I believe, 10 total, and one of them's already gone missing out of the 3 passes that they've sold. It's just it's just really big and cumbersome.
So there's no date or anything, like somebody could get it and then just give it. Now it could be circulating around.
Yes. Yeah, the harbor masters were all delighting in the ridiculousness of it. They all found it quite entertaining. And they all were like, I don't know what was wrong with the old one. So I don't know. And like I said, again, they still encourage people, like, go drop your stuff off, come back, park here and walk over, like leave one parent with kids and have the other one. So I then went from them to the treasurer office because they were like, hey, you're talking about, also one last thing with the harbor master, they have no issue if the program was expanded for like weekday. They wouldn't have a problem having people in there to purchase the passes. They don't see that as they're like, we're at 8 now, even if you quadruple it, that's not going to create a lot of extra work for us. So I thought that was a really nice feedback from them. They also echoed some of our thoughts of, hey, what if you were able to work with Nona's to get a buy one, get one free ice cream cone, or TK O'Malley's to do something like that. So were kind of coming up with the same brainstorming that we were, which was nice to hear. There were 3 different people on the clock that were talking with me while I was in there. They then mentioned that they thought there was something, because I told them, part of why we were looking into this is Airbnb people might want to have access. And they were like, hey, I think that there might be something, if you go to the treasurer's office, there might be something already in place for Airbnbs. So I went to the treasurer's office and got to talk to those sticker ladies who have a lot of thoughts on the program. In their defense, the number of stickers from 2019 to now has increased by 20%. So that's like a lot more work for them. It's a lot more transactions, even though they try to get people to do it online. But there is, in fact, a sentence in the mailer that is sent out every year to residents. There's two things. There's a seasonal pass that someone, if they're a summer renter, they could get, and it would be for the season, and it costs them $200. And there is a weekly, if you rent something for more than 7 days. I don't know what they count as the season. They must count it like multiple months. I'm guessing 3 months. But you can, if you're an Airbnb owner, go with your rental agreement to the treasurer office, and they will give you, and it's exactly the same thing as what the harbor master gives out. The only difference is there will be a little beach sticker stuffed to the front of it that says the dates that it's valid for. So it'd be like July 1st to July 8th, or whatever week time that they're getting it for. And that is $50. I've actually got an email drafted to you, Katie, with all of this written down. So I apologize, I hadn't gotten it sent to you yet.
No, it's all good. I'm like a little mind blown, right? Because like, where does all of this exist?
So again, that mailer we all get that has like the rules saying, oh, here's each thing.
Oh yeah.
A bunch of stuff at the bottom. It's in the very bottom. And they don't, like, on the website, you can't see it. Oh, my PC needs to be plugged in, of course. On the website, you can't like see it. You only get to it if you get to the PDF, the snail mail application that's sent out. And it's on the second page, the very last item on the second page of that. And they were very funny about it. They were like, we do not encourage people. We don't advertise this at all. And I'm like, of course you don't. I am looking for my computer charger. I just don't know where it went. If I were a computer charger, where would I be? That was interesting. The other thing that was interesting.
Before you move on, did they say they sell those?
They've sold like one this year. And maybe they said I think they sold, they don't know exactly how many they've sold because they don't track it the way the harbor master does. The harbor master will actually write down like the individual number and say like, oh, this was the date we sold it. Sorry.
Why isn't the harbor master selling these? Is my question, right? Like if there's already an infrastructure in place for a daily pass to the harbor master, like why are they not handling if it's the same pass?
It's the exact same
the
pass,
weekly
yeah.
passes.
They
no
felt
sense.
the same thing that the harbor master did about the ridiculousness of it. I may have to switch to my phone. I don't know where my computer charger, as you guys are all getting a tour of my house with me. So that I thought was really, really interesting. And the other thing that the treasurer office ladies brought up is, Rich, you had been in touch about the sticker enforcement. And I'm going to switch to my phone here so that I don't get locked off because my computer battery, how much longer do I have? 4%. Okay. So they were talking about how it's the pilot program for the stickers where the police officer would just cruise through, scan the license plate, and it's linked to the database that the ladies have in the treasurer office. And they're saying that if that works well this summer, and there's nothing that would change between, they've already purchased it. So as long as that works all right, then next year they probably wouldn't even sell a physical sticker. It'd just be you go online or you go to the office and you purchase it. They'd make sure everything's correct, but you wouldn't actually get a physical sticker.
I like being in random places and seeing the Scituate beach sticker on the back of people's cars.
I know, me too.
Yeah, I mean, they could still physically hand one out if people wanted one, but I'm just saying, like, it could go away entirely. I guess Plymouth did that for their transfer station and for their beach. And so it's almost like a toll, right? Where you wouldn't have a transponder because it would be a scan of the license plate and it would go to the database and it'd be linked up. But that might, so I guess my point was that if that's the case, they may not have as much of a headache on the sticker side, because if there's a lot more online, you know, where you're not even getting something physically, you're not getting it in the mail or anything. If it's just going online and then you're in the database, then some of their heartburn of how much extra effort it can be, like just disruptive is their major complaint, is, you know, they've got a lot of stuff they're trying to do, and then people come and get their transfer station sticker in February, but then they wait to get the beach in May, and they're like, just buy it now.
It's interesting though, if they move to the away from stickers and to an auto situation, this pilot will fail because if they're relying solely on license plates, there's not going to be somebody checking their, you know, the hanging mirror for a sticker,
No, but
right?
this is what when Connor's the one who told me about this, the new, he
Mhm.
said that it would be easier with the new, like you could put in like this license plate is only valid for these dates or these times.
If
And
the
that,
person if the person like managing the sticker actually has access to enter into that database, yes, but I bet the harbor master doesn't,
oh,
right?
right. No, I guess what I'm saying is I wonder if it's going to be possible for them to go to a website, buy this new
Yeah,
day
okay, and it
pass,
would
put
be
it in
handled
there,
like through
and
the
like click
treasurer's
the
office.
calendar for when they want
Yeah,
it,
okay.
pay for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep,
it
I
doesn't.
do. Yeah. Yeah.
I also want to post the existing programs on the web. So Kate, once you've got the information from Andrea, can you write that up and I'll post it?
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Or actually, Andrea, even if she just includes you on the summary, I just made
I'm
notes,
back.
but
Sorry.
no worries. We were just saying, Kelly was just saying she wants to post the current, like the current programs. It sounds like you have all of that written up already.
I do. Yeah, I do.
So just copy me on it when you send to Kate, please.
I'll
Thank
send it. I'll just copy all of you. But yeah, it was very eye-opening and educational, where I was like, oh, so some of this exists. I bet a lot of people barely, you know, you don't really read the mailer. You're just like, oh, my beach sticker thing, and that's about it. And like they said, they're not advertising this.
Yeah,
But it
clearly.
is it's the exact same thing they give the harbor master, except that there's an additional sticker that goes on it that says, you know, the date of that it's useful for. And then again, the person's supposed to bring it back, which is kind of unlikely. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
the police station obviously has a stake in all of this as well, if they're the ones changing the pass.
Yeah.
Like look, right?
Which I thought was interesting, because I don't think we'd really thought to necessarily approach them, and that was something I wanted to raise, is we should probably talk to them. And I like your idea too about if there is a weekly thing that could be gotten, what, you know, maybe move it to the harbor master, because they're willing to do the day pass as it stands now, and it looks like we'd be trying to kind of combine those two anyway. And they have much later hours. You know, I didn't realize this, but they're open till midnight. So like it's, you know, City Hall is not, their hours are much more condensed, whereas the harbor master, they're around. So
yeah, town hall closes at 11:45 on Friday and reopens on Monday if it's not a holiday. So there'd be no chance at a weekend pass.
from the harbor master?
No, from town
No,
hall.
from town.
Oh, yeah, but we're not, I mean, I didn't think right now we were trying to do weekend. I think we were still weekday.
Oh,
right?
so the full week would include weekends, though.
The one that's available now, probably, yeah, it would be, it's for 7 days. If you are renting for 7 days, then you can get a 7-day pass. So I guess it would, but you're right. You'd have to get to town hall during their hours. You wouldn't be able to get it on a Saturday, but if you're a week renter and you're checking in Saturday, and then you want to, yeah, I guess the harbor master, to me, kind of makes more sense, especially since they didn't seem to mind. They were funny about how they have no idea how it ended up in their responsibility scope, but they didn't mind it being in their responsibility scope.
Do we have any questions about the day pass and the survey currently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will you be
Oh, that's
open?
right. Yes,
Yep.
I remember. Yep. Good.
Andrea, did you say, how do they know that it's for renters and people just don't go in and buy a week-long pass? Is
You
there?
have to bring your lease agreement with you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and the same thing if you're a seasonal renter. So if you're renting for like 4 months, then you would bring in your rental agreement. And that pass would just look the exact same as a standard resident sticker. It's only if you're the weekly, a 7, but if you rent for 2 weeks, you would still only get a 7-day pass. That's just what they have.
Got it.
And so, that would be that, but that's what they require right now is your rental agreement. I remember having to do that when we first moved here to get
Yeah.
the sticker. We had to do
Me too.
because we weren't, your registration on your cars doesn't get updated as quickly.
I would not advocate for doing anything with the seasonal pass. That feels maybe beyond the scope of what we're trying to do, but I would advocate, as we were just saying, to moving the weekly pass program into this under the umbrella of what the harbor master is handling, since it clearly does exist. I just don't know whether the harbor master would have the bandwidth, interest, scope, or whatever to handle that sort of like verification step of the lease agreement and all that.
I did get the
Um,
email address of the lady who, Ellen, she was the one on the computer at the harbor master. So she was the one looking up exactly how many they'd sold, and asked her if it'd be okay if we reached back out to her once we got a little further along. Because I was definitely trying to pick their brains and give them an opportunity to,
yeah.
be resistant or not resistant. And they were overall quite encouraging of it. Although they did say over and over, people can park for free in the Cole Parkway, and we tell them that. So.
Yeah, but if we're making it open to all beaches, that's not going to be the case, right?
Well, that's exactly right. If you're down near the Sand Hills area, and you want to go check out another beach or vice versa, right?
Right.
I do read the mailer, and I still have no idea. I still had no idea
Yeah,
that this existed. Yeah, my mind's like a little bit.
It's
I know.
crazy to me that they wouldn't put that's not on a website
Right?
anywhere. Yeah.
And clearly from the excerpts that even I pulled from Airbnb hosts and other, like, it's clear that not only not encouraged or advertised, it's just not known.
Right, exactly. That I think was the most surprising part to me. Is I'm like, gosh, we are the beach commission. We should seems like we should notice it, but clearly we're not the only ones in the dark. I've never heard anyone else talk about it either. And when I came in there, the ladies were like, "Oh yes, we don't advertise that." I'm like, "Great." So,
Well, we'll start advertising it. For what it's worth.
it was interesting because they were talking about how many more stickers they sell each year, and they printed off the numbers for me. And yeah, like resident stickers has increased quite a bit. I'll scan all of it and send it along. But 2019 they sold 6,051 resident stickers. In 2023 they sold 7,351 resident stickers so far. Right, that's just so far. Last year they sold 7,562. So that's an increase. And I guess one question I'd have is, where's all that additional revenue going? Because it adds up.
For sure.
Not a lot at $35 a sticker, but it does add up.
Yeah.
It's going into the beach sticker revolving fund, which gets used for things like paving mine.
All right. Well,
that's where it's going.
as long as it's
beach sticker revolving fund.
This is a naive question. Who manages that fund? Like,
I believe Nancy Holt as the town accountant
Town
ultimately.
accountant, okay,
The people that can draw on it are Kevin Cafferty, DPW,
yeah,
and Nick Lombardo, Recreation, is my understanding.
okay.
So anything else on beach stickers? Thanks both Andrea and Kate for the work you're
Sure.
doing on that.
I just
We've got a
wanted
regular
to,
court Scituate.
there's still, it's clear there's still some things to work through, before we, really get to a point where this is ready for prime time. It's already halfway through the summer. In my mind, see this as like a next year project, like a rollout of the next season, not this. I just wanted to align with people that be the case. It's something we can sort of finalize and work through with the select board, like over the fall winter season to deploy for next beach sticker season. But let me know, is that everyone else's assumption, or
They start pretty early on the sticker stuff, say maybe February, maybe even January. So
okay,
if we
okay,
started talking in the fall, September.
What
okay.
what the treasurer ladies told me was that their paper application that they send to everybody that has the transfer stickers and beach sticker, it's that like application. So if you mail it in with a check, that goes out, I think it's with the water bill in November. I don't remember what
Oh.
bill it goes out with. It goes out with tax or water, one of those in November. So from their standpoint, if you're going to do something with the more permanent stickers, I'd say, then that would be November. But if we're doing something that's more like the day pass, then yeah, I think next year would make more sense, especially if we're trying to tie in, we still got to tie in the police,
Exactly.
and if we're trying to make this, I mean, because I think the day pass as it stands right now, if we're trying to make it something possibly linked with a little bit of economic incentives on some local businesses, I think next spring would be the time to do it. And that gives us time to really have like something graphically pleasing developed, make sure we have everyone's buy-in, and that takes time, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
people don't meet every day, they meet monthly, sometimes bi-weekly. So yeah.
I was about to say it would be great to get something on that physical letter saying we're going to do this, but then I realized that not everybody reads the whole letter. It sounds like nobody does. That may not get us very far. May not be worth it.
Maybe we could include a separate flyer that was just talking about our agenda and not buried in the fine print.
I know. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear alignment on that. I just wanted to be sure, no, like that someone wasn't thinking, we could, try to push this out for the end of the beach season, because I just, it feels like there's still a lot to.
Yeah, the logistics. There's
Yeah.
more logistics.
Okay, very good.
I
Thank
guess
you.
one question I'm thinking of, so for us, we're looking at the day pass. We're still thinking harbor master be the one who's helping from a commercial transactional, right? They're again the ones who would probably be handling the transactions, and people would go there to get it, which I think from an hourly perspective of when they're
Yeah.
open will make sense. They also, that's a big part of what they're doing is interacting with the public in there. I guess one thing I was wondering about is, I don't know in what way we can push the weekly rentals or make that a little bit more known, but that could be something we could do this summer in parallel. Or do we not really necessarily want to worry about that as much? We just want to focus on expanding the day pass and making that kind of the new weekly rental, I guess. Does that make sense?
I think we do a soft promotion, like add it to our
Yeah.
website
Okay.
and
Say the same.
worry about the day pass and maybe include that when we get to that stage.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say the same, sort of like make it, put it out there, but in sort of the long game plan, in my mind, like combine the two programs into one comprehensive program, rather than like, oh, you need a weekly sticker, go to the treasurer's office. Oh, you need a daily sticker, go to the harbor master. Oh, you need a seasonal. Oh yeah, that's the treasurer. Oh, you're a resident. Oh, that's over here. It just seems a little silly. So I think if we can try to help create some organization to what appears to be a bit of chaos, that probably helps everybody.
Is there anything else you want me to bring up specifically with the chamber, the Commerce Chamber of Commerce, tomorrow, or just kind of solicit their feedback.
From my perspective, feedback, and sort of the Q&A piece, I would also float the idea by them. I would ask the question, did you know we had a weekly pass? But I would love to get their feedback on the whole, like, coupon known as TKs, whatever sort of idea, because I think they might have feedback on that in a positive way, or some ideas around that could be useful.
Okay.
That's
Sounds
my input.
And the letter of support is really helpful. They'll obviously have time on that, but it's good to give them a seed to think about.
Okay.
All right, so that's everything on the beach sticker proposal. Rich, anything from Connor on the QR sticker action?
Not from Connor. So I wrote to Michael Minchello, who is our town IT guy, about the QR codes. He wrote back and said that we can just use our page and just link to the beach commission, or create a new like subpage and link to that. What he said though was, and he sent me some links, and he said QR codes are coming up more and more as like fraud. Like somebody basically sees there's a QR code and then tapes a new code over the code, and that he would worry that people are gonna could say like, hey, you owe $20 to go on the beach, kind of what we're saying here. And that he would prefer, he said, don't be scared of it, but he would like regular check-ins of the code to make sure it's not being used fraudulently. So that was his advice. He said, I'm not saying don't do it, but please have somebody kind of testing them once you go live. So then the next step, and Kelly is going to ask, like, so we're good to go. I mean, I could write up, I could get started on like a draft of the types of things we'd want to say. Like it's kind of jumped around from, because I think originally Connor's idea was both have translations into different languages of the beach rules and write up some information about the beach generally. But I don't know how, I mean, I guess I would have to play around with the site, but how you make like both those things work on a QR code, unless you go to like a landing page that says with links on it that says, do you want to go this way for this or that way for that kind of thing? Which seems doable. But I do think maybe we want to talk about what we want to accomplish with these QR. Like, do we have a primary objective, or do we just want to try to do those two things? I don't know, because you also in the QR code you want to say what it's doing, right? You want to, like, what's the point of
Agreed.
Right. So I don't know.
Scan here to learn more about the beach or whatever, right?
Right. And I don't know if maybe it's fine, but scan more for translations and more information about the beach. Like, I don't know if both those things fit. But yeah, it sounds like we're free to use our site to link.
It may depend. Sorry.
Go ahead, Kelly.
It may depend on how we're offering the translation. Would we actually type up exactly what it says in Portuguese as well as in English and then offer it like that? Or are we going to have a live translator that we link to? Something more like Google Translate would offer.
No, yeah, no, I mean, my thought was we write up whatever we want to write up in English, and then we throw it through Google Translate, and then maybe have a native speaker verify it. But then have a link like beach information, English, beach information, Spanish, beach information, Portuguese, or something like that as 3 different links when you go to the QR code.
Yes, it is displayed.
I know a lot of fluent Spanish speakers, but I don't know, like one of my best friend's husbands is from Chile, but I don't know that many native Portuguese speakers.
I'm on the Cape Verde committee, so I think I can get someone to look at that for us.
There we go.
Fantastic. Yeah, I did not know that. Yep. So, and then the other thing is getting like permission as to, I mean, I guess it's the DPW, right?
To put a sticker on the sign?
To put a sticker somewhere, right? We can't just do it.
Yeah. Good point.
Well, I
Well,
guess we talked to the select board.
Sticker to Egypt this past weekend. That was really nice.
What did you
Wait.
say?
There was a Dog Walkers of Egypt beach sign.
Oh, yes.
see
Stuck
that
on the post.
I was like, oh, that's so nice. But I mean, I thought it was a really nice little sign that they'd put up. And then I wondered, who are these Egypt beach dog walkers? I'd like to join them. That's a good point though, Rich. Yeah, who gets to decide that? Or do you just make it happen?
I was looking for ideas because I don't know. I wouldn't even know who to go to. I would think the DPW, but
I don't think it's up to them to approve something like that, though. If we need help of fixing it or installing it, that would be them. But I think we should take it to the select board.
Yeah. So my personal thought is step 1 would just be translate the information that's on the sign to be in Portuguese or Spanish. I don't know if there's any other languages that would make sense for our area. That would be my first goal. And then once we get that, then I think we could always expand it where maybe it links to like there's the Mossing Heritage Museum, or maybe there's more information we can link it to historically. But I think my gut instinct is to start with the rules and then we can always expand it. But that was, I think, probably our higher priority, right? Is just to make sure people, if they don't know what the regulations are, to at least communicate that, right? And then maybe there's information.
I agree with Andrea.
okay.
I just think if we try to do too much at once, I could see it getting bogged down in the select board reviewing it. And like, oh, is this the story we want to tell about the Scituate 143 lighthouse? You know what I mean?
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
And once we have it up and it's working, then we can make a case for adding things like stories, history, etc.
Yeah, and some of that exists already. So to your point, Andrea, like linking out, right? Like I found the whole Hummerock, there's like pages on Hummerock history on the town website that we could easily link back to.
I mean, the other thing is the beauty about QR codes is they're 100% trackable, right? So we can put it up. You have 3 people click on it, we can scrap the whole idea, or if it's being used, we add to it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, I'll start there.
Well, thank you for the work you're doing on it, Rich. That's great. Could be a very interesting addition. Bike racks, Andrea, what have you got?
So I was able to meet with Nick Lombardo, who is the head of the recreation department. And oh my goodness, what was her name? Oh, the new assistant of the rec department, and I'm totally blanking on her name. I've got it written down, but I was able to meet with them, and Nancy also came along, who's working on forming the bike commission in Scituate. So we were there to try to discuss, well, not try, but to find out what their thoughts were on some of the real estate, because right now at the beaches, if you want to have a bike rack that's close to the beach, at least at Peggotty, it's taken up by porta potties, their huge box of stuff, and then parking spots. What's interesting, and I don't know if you've got any thoughts on this, Rich, but it seems to me like the layout at Peggotty keeps changing, because last year I remember the porta potties being in the bollard area and the trash cans just being on either side of the entrance. and the box, I thought the storage box was kind of off to the side. And this year, the trash cans are protected by the bollards. The porta potties are like to the, to the right of the entrance if you're looking at the ocean. So essentially, from recreation department's perspective, they don't want to give up. They don't want to move a lifeguard parking spot to give it to bike racks. I think there's a couple of reasons. One is he just doesn't want to have to change anything. He doesn't want to adjust it. It is what it is. He's got the spots for the lifeguards. I think the other part of it is that if he moves a spot for a lifeguard, then that means that he's potentially taking away a spot for a resident. And that's obviously on his mind. Because, especially at Peggotty, resident parking is always a premium. So we didn't really get very far there. We talked about Minot, but Minot's supposed to be getting repaved. So we all kind of thought it would be best to do anything with bike racks at Minot for when the actual repaving happens, because then it could be designed into parking lot, like when they arrange the spaces and stuff. So I think that would be a better time to do it. They're supposed to be getting more spaces. They're supposed to be expanding it. At the same time, a floating wheelchair was just bought for Minot. So they've got to figure out where to store that. They don't have a home yet. So Minot's kind of all up in the air. Like right now at Minot, the lifeguards just store their stuff basically under a private citizen's residence house. So, which is kind of what they do at Hummerock too. But one idea, we came up with a few different options, and he did invite us to go to the recreation department's, like, I guess their monthly meeting, and we could talk about it then. But one idea that we came up with that might be possible, there was two thoughts, since he really doesn't want to give up the real estate closest to the beach. But one idea, and I need to go talk to Bob Vogel, who's the building permit director, and he's also the person who's most close to the ADA compliance for the town. I don't know if you've noticed, but at Peggotty especially, there's a lot of crosshatching around the handicap parking. And I'm wondering if maybe some of that could be redistributed slightly to give some space to bike racks, so that you'd have like your bollards where the trash cans are now, your handicaps parking, and then you could do bikes at the other side of that handicap parking. So that might be a possibility depending on what is decided there. It's just way more crosshatching than I've ever seen anywhere else for handicap spots. I mean, there are clear guidelines for what's required, and I think that they've got more than what's required. I suspect that they didn't want people to be parking there like their cars, which is probably why there's the crosshatching. Another idea is you just kind of put it out where the parking spots end, but kind of hanging out in the middle, which is a terrible spot. I just think they get run over. I think a plow would hit them when they're plowing or moving sand. So I don't have a good spot yet for there, I guess. We didn't come to any sort of agreement. Basically, they don't want to change anything with their lifeguard stuff.
What
And
about, because it doesn't matter how close to the beach they are, it just matters that people see that it's there. So the bike rack, right? Like you can park your bike and then walk to the beach.
yeah, I guess the thought is, if that's true.
I was just like, when you drive in where they have the visitor spots,
Mhm.
if there's space over there, because then every time you drive into Peggotty, you'll see that we have a bike rack. So, but then you have to walk from there to the beach.
Yeah.
I'm just brainstorming here.
Yeah, no, I like it. I guess my thought was, I was trying to make it, if you look at how towns like guidelines are developed for bike racks in general, they have there's a lot of guidelines out there. And usually you're trying to put the bike parking as close to a building entrance as possible. Like you're trying to incentivize people to bike rather than to drive. So if you're putting it so all the cars are first and then the bikes get to park furthest away, that's not really creating that incentive, would be my concern. One idea, if you look at Egypt, the bike racks are on their way from the parking lot. There's 3 that were being used this weekend. There's 3 spots or racks that are on their way to the path, the boardwalk. I don't know. I doubt that conservation would be open to it, but there is enough room in that pathway up the sand where the Moby mat is. The free library just got put in that space. Maybe they'd let us put some sort of bike rack in there, depending on what the anchoring is for it. I don't know. That's a thought. I don't know if conservation would be open to it or not. Probably not, would be my guess. But I haven't reached out to Amy. My first was to try to go talk with Bob Vogel and talk to him about, because the handicap parking that's to the left of the entrance, if you're looking at the ocean, there's a lot of space there. But I guess what's interesting to me is it's like, I have pictures of how things were distributed at Peggotty like last year and the year before. And it seems like they just keep moving stuff around in terms of where's the storage box going with all the lifeguard stuff, where are the trash cans going, where are the porta potties going. And so it's like, so I guess for me it's kind of hard because it's like, okay, well, you look at this Google Earth photo and it's showing one layout, and then as of 2023 this is the layout. So I'm trying to find a way forward here that would allow us to put something in that works with all these moving parts. That's kind of, so I don't have a good spot yet. But the initial hope of, oh, we'll take the lifeguard parking spot, they'll just move one further down. That one got dashed. I would say that's a very, very low probability of happening. So more to come. Still working on trying to get with the right people to see what might be a possibility instead. We also looked at Sandy Hills. But I mean, from a lifeguard perspective, they don't really have any opinions there. And same thing on Hummer Rock. So basically the rec department's main thing was they cared about Peggotty and Minot. Were we doing anything that disrupted their lifeguard spots? And they didn't want to change anything with their lifeguard spots. So kind of where it was.
Well, thanks for your work on it, Andrea.
You're welcome.
Glad it's still moving along.
Moving slowly.
I am sorry we missed the CPC funding round, but hopefully we'll be ready the next time. I think October is the next deadline. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is that feasible?
We'll have a plan in place by then, for sure.
Great. Awesome. The beach social. Speaking of a good time. Thank you for organizing, Kate.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm glad we got some attendance and some diverse attendance at that too, which was nice to see a couple of the beaches represented.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. We had Deanna from Hummer Rock. We had that nice couple that belonged to Hatherley, so mine it was their beach. Irene is near Egypt. And who's the next person? Oh, Jeff from Peggotty.
Yeah.
So we had a pretty good coverage of all the different beaches. Nobody from Museum or Sandhills, but otherwise good. What's everybody think? Do we want to try and have another one? Is that a good number of people? Were we happy with the progress we made? Should we scrap it or try to make it even more robust?
My opinion is that I think it serves as a very nice informal way to gather information and disperse information, right? Like we were able to float a couple of our ideas by people and get immediate reactions that I appreciated. There was a lot of positive sort of anecdotal feedback, I think, from people on the level of engagement they're seeing from us as a positive thing. I think if we do it too frequent, though, the turnout will not, I mean, it won't be, I don't think we'll get like engagement all the time. I think we should be thoughtful about how and when. But I would definitely be open to repeating it.
Andrea, Rich, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of doing it like annually. I don't think we need to do it, but to say, next year we can say, join us for our annual
Exactly.
beach get together, and just try to drive attendance up slowly. But I agree, it was really nice informally to have some of those conversations.
I also would support the annual. I thought that worked out really well. I think, and plus that way, if we could kind of plan ahead a little bit more and get the word out, have it on the calendar sooner. You know what I mean? So I think that would make a difference too. Maybe we get more people there, maybe not, I don't know. But I thought it was really nice. It was interesting to get to interact with people who care about the beaches. And like you said, you get real feedback in real time. That was nice. So thank you for organizing it, Katie.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're welcome.
The appetizers were delicious. I love that place.
I know it was a great venue. I'm gonna send Arlene and Mick a note of thanks again. But I think it was a good venue for that, just having something easy and open and casual. So
I also, to Andrew's point, I mean, if we say, okay, hey, we're going to do this at the beginning of every season, then throughout the year, as we run into people associated in these associations, we can always drop it like, hey, it'd be great if you could come out to the, and just see that it's a thing.
All right, good. Schedule the next meeting, Wednesday,
I had one
August 9th. Oh,
before, because I know I missed a little bit on the beach monitoring when we all were talking about our respective beaches. I was just curious, did we get any updates on like trash cans? Because I know at Minot, they don't have them along the seawall at all, which in the past since 2019, there's always been trash cans at the top of each stairwell along the seawall. And I 99% sure I didn't drive by this weekend. So I'm not sure if it got put there this weekend, but the Eagle Scouts project, as far as I know, that is not up in Minot yet.
nor at Egypt. And
Okay.
I've written to Mike Breen about it. I haven't gotten any answer from him. That's what we talked about earlier.
Okay.
But I'll include your comments in my next email to him, trying to prompt some action.
Okay.
I've also called and been by there, so we'll keep trying.
Okay. Yeah, I was just
We're
kind of,
Lisa's man.
I know that they make a big, I know the trash is not DPW's favorite thing and everything like that, but it's just weird to me how much it seems to change from year to year to year. It seems like it should be a pretty standard thing of like, this is where we put the trash cans. And I don't know why it seems to be this like evolving thing.
Yeah, Egypt's were changed unfavorably too, so I agree. It doesn't make sense why they've shifted positions.
They're by the porta potties now, right?
They're actually at the beginning of the boardwalk.
Oh yeah, okay. There's
They
some
had
there.
been at the tops of each path, but they moved them down there for some weird reason. I think you should have two in two separate locations. Isn't that more strategic for catching litter? No, nope, nothing yet.
Good point, Kelly. I never having
Right.
4 trash barrels right next to each other may not be the best use of yeah.
Right? Does that really make sense?
Yeah.
All I know is yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, it's interesting to me how much, I'm sure trash is like the last thing they want to hear about, but it's like, okay, if you don't, there's got to be a way to make it a better system or a more consistent system. And I'm not saying it needs to be them. I'm just saying there has to be a way. But yeah, the safety equipment, I don't, unless it got put out this weekend, which I very much doubt, it was not there on like Wednesday or Thursday of last week when I was kind of going by and checking on that stuff. So which is too bad because that guy spent
Right.
hard work.
Oh, I know. No, it's very upsetting. If I don't get a response from him this week, I'll ask our select board liaison, Susan Harrison.
Oh, is that our
we'll do.
person?
Yes, I meant to tell you. She's our new liaison.
Okay. And then there was something else I was wondering about. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, and then the next beach cleanup, which
August
beaches?
12th.
Okay. And is that the one that Fantastics is helping with?
Yes.
Okay.
it is.
Yep, at Sandhills.
Perfect. Okay.
I'm scheduling the next meeting Wednesday, August 9th at 6 p.m. Does that work for everyone?
I can't make that. I mean, I can send notes, so you don't have to move, but I'm away Sunday to Wednesday that week.
All right. If it's okay with you, we'll continue without you.
That's fine.
Okay.
Can make that date. Yeah.
Yep. I'm good with that date.
Any other business? we're going to be having new members. They just haven't been picked yet. 2 of the candidates went in for their interview the 27th of June, yes. And I'm guessing some more are being seen tomorrow night. So there were 4 people interested and we have only 3 spots. So we'll be getting some new blood. And Andrea, I don't know if you were on yet. We switched Kate to Museum Beach. She will no longer have to cover Hummerock.
Mhm.
Be one of the newcomers.
Pass it on.
Any other business? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Dahlstrom. All in favor?
All
Thanks everybody for a nice meeting.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.